Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. I'm glad to be back with you guys. So today we are going to be looking at some of our 3D shapes as we learn. So if you have any 3D shapes you can use, find some cubes that you have for toys, find some cones, find anything you have like a can to use for a cylinder, whatever you have to use, go ahead and grab them. We're going to be building some structures with our shapes. We have to describe each shape as we do it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys for our PowerPoint today. We are on lesson 6, so grab your things, grab your packet to work through it with us. And we are going to begin looking at lesson 6. Make sure. There we go. All right, so now you can see it. We're going to go from here. So lesson 6, our objective is that I can create a composite shape from 3-dimensional shapes that describe the composite shapes using their shape names and positions. Wow. So yesterday we made composite shapes using our 2D shapes. So now we're going to use 3D shapes, but we're going to describe them by their faces, so the flat sides, or the vertices, or the points that they have. And we're going to be able to name which faces are on the ground, are on top of other shapes to build different structures. So I'm going to tell you and describe what I'm building, and I'm going to wait, and then I'll show it to you once I'm done building it, and see if you guys drew, thought of, or put together those shapes and imagine it the same way that I'm building it, okay? So I'm going to listen to my description and try and build it. So I'm putting a cube on the table, a cone on top of the cube so that the circular face is touching the top of the cube. So the circular face is touching the top of the cube. I want you to think about it and think if you have created it. And I'll show you what I did. So this is what it should have looked like. My cube was on my table, and my cone is on top of it with the circular face on top of it. Okay? So if you didn't make it, think about how you can use the descriptions next time. Let's look and see. Share it and see. This is what it should look like. Alrighty, so listen carefully again. I'm going to build it, and you guys can build it along with me before I show you what it looks like. So I'm putting a rectangular prism with the longest face on the table. So think about which way you have to set it down. The longest face on the table. I'm going to put a cube on top of the prism right in the middle. And then 2 cones on top of the prism, 1 on each end. Well, I only have 1 cone, so I'm going to imagine in my brain that I have another cone on the other side. Let me see if I can compare it and see if I got it. Did you build yours correct? Ah, nice. I did too. I'm imagining my other cone on the other side because I only have 1. But nice job. Let's see if we can build another one. All right. There's a lot of information. So listen, and if you need more time after I read it, pause it, okay? So I am putting a rectangular prism with the longest side touching the table and the longest side on the table. I'm getting a cylinder on top of the prism all the way to the right with the circular face touching the prism. Okay, let me read that again. A prism all the way to the right with the circular face touching the rectangular prism. Okay, now I'm going to put a cylinder on top of the prism all the way to the left with the circular face touching the prism. Okay, the circular face is on it. A rectangular prism on top of these cylinders so that it touches both cylinders. Okay, wow, this is tricky. It's getting kind of tall. And then a cone right in the center of the rectangular prism with the circular face touching the prism. Okay, I built mine. Circular face. Let's see. I'm going to hold mine up. I'm going to show you what I made. Rectangular prism, my cylinder, rectangular prism, and a cone. Let's see if we made it correctly. I hope it looks right. And it does. My shapes are just a little bit smaller, so it looks a little bit different, but we built it. So see how you're able to say if you know that the flat circle is touching it or the longest face of a rectangular prism versus the shortest face or the smallest face. So those words to describe them are important for us to be able to build it based on just the description. Okay, so if you are able to find some objects, you're going to play a game of build my composite shape game like we just kind of did. So I want you to build one, describe it to someone, and see if they can build it. Or just be able to describe what you build using the keywords, okay? Like the longest side, the circle face, the rectangular face, or different things like that. Be able to describe it very well. So if you build some of these, I want you to work and build as many as you can, and I want you to record the number of each shape you used to make your structure, and number 2 right here. Then I want you to write down which shape did you use for the bottom or the base of your structure. Like the last one we used was this rectangular prism, and why. So for example, I would use a rectangular prism because it's one of the biggest shapes that I have, and it's flat on all the sides, so I can build around it easier. And then lastly, is there any shapes that you chose not to use or why? So if I think about that, I might not want to use this sphere as much because it's not really going to sit flat anymore and it might roll around or roll off my table. So think about the structure of the objects and why you may or may not want to use them when you're building a structure. So go ahead and have some fun with your shapes, build some composite shapes, and I will see you back tomorrow to work on some more of our shapes. Have a great day.